Hello and welcome. Today is December 26th, and I hope all of you had just a wonderful holiday. So I thought I would come on and visit with you a little bit. I haven't vlogged in a while about this and that. I'm going to start by telling you about an executive decision, an executive art decision that I made over these holidays. I had been keeping a journal, a daily planner for this last year, and I actually did manage to keep going through the year. I then realized that this was becoming another chore. The doing, the creating, the putting together, the washi tape, whole thing. So, when I went to Barnes & Noble, I noticed this. And I looked it over carefully and said, now I wonder what this is going to do for me. And this is going to be just fine for Carol. It's already here. It's already got pretties in it. It's got space to do things, plenty of room to add each day. So here it is, Carol's planner, all ready to go. If I wish to add something, I will. If I don't, underlining don't, probably no problem just plopping it in. I might do a little washi tape to do that, but no obligation to do it. So, and the reason was, when I really examined my feelings about the situation, was that it actually was just taking up more time than I wanted to dedicate to it, because some of you might or might not realize that along around the end of September I started junk journaling, and there is nothing that can while away a couple of hours more pleasantly than junk journaling, but it can really eat up the time. So this was my executive decision for 2019. Now I want to share a present that I bought for myself. I always buy myself a Christmas present, particularly because I can tell myself that I was a good girl. So I found this at a mall that I hadn't been at to for a while, and my husband and I thought we would take a Christmassy visit, because they do make them all so Christmassy and pretty, during last week. And I went back to the booth that had those Japanese script books that I use for my cherry blossom journal, and I thought, let me see if there are any left, because I kept that one, and the other ones that I had and put in my Etsy shop, gone immediately. So, no, of course, I think everybody started to get that they were just lovely. Why? I turned around and my eye hit this book, because, of course, this is all I saw looking at me. And I don't know what, maybe it was this that drew me to it. And a little bit of problem right there. Trilby. And that kind of clicked on a little bit. So, pulled it down, and this is, of course, what I saw. And they had kind of had me at the fleur-de-lis and the blue tiny flowers, and it says Trilby by George du Maurier. And I said, this must be an oldie. And I opened it, and then I saw this. Well, it's a one. I do believe I have to be honest, I think I truly did hyperventilate a little bit. So I said, let's look. So I'm sharing with you. This paper is absolutely beautiful. I wouldn't be, I know it must be 100% rag cotton, and the way it's torn on the edge as well. Don't even go there. I was just, I was taken right there. picture of Du Maurier. The cover sheet's still intact. Trilby, a novel by George Du Maurier, author of Peter Ibbotson. Illustrations by the author. Okie dokie. New York, Harper and Brothers, and I knew as soon as it said Brothers it was an old one, and this is 1895. Well, then I turned the page and realized there were 600 copies printed. Well, with this kind of paper in it, with his own illustrations, yeah, really. And this book is number 496, copyright 1894, 1895, all rights reserved, and so on. So, some of his illustrations are full page. The printing is beautiful. There are lots and lots of his, I believe these are woodcut illustrations. Another one full page. A portrait. The third, he was Little Billy. And it went on and on and on with the author's own illustrations. Some of them rather frequent. Some pages, you could go a few pages without finding any of his illustrations. But these pictures tell the story so beautifully. And this book just seems to be never-ending joy. Well, I thought to myself, lordy, lordy, I have to have this. And, of course, then, oh, Carol, Christmas present. Absolutely. So under my arm it went. Now, I am understanding the age of the book. I'm understanding that it is a limited edition book, etc., etc. However, I'm seriously wanting to use this magnificent paper for my art. And if I use it as an altered book, which I have no qualms about doing. I know some of you might be raising your eyes right now, but this is something that I feel I can do. And if I do remove some of the pages from this book, isn't she beautiful? So, I will be sharing these in the extra pages in my Etsy shop. The book is bound at the top in gilt, and Carol's present to herself. I haven't quite decided what is going to happen with this yet, what kind of art I'm going to do. I'm still at the if stage, but I'm leaning towards giving this book back some life from Carol and making myself happy. And Merry Christmas to Carol. I also purchased, while I was there, some of these old envelopes. Aren't these lovely? And I thought, oh my, wouldn't these be pretty in junk journals? So I purchased that packet of envelopes and some pretty stamps, lots of them, and colorful. And just, I thought, oh, I don't have any stamps for my junk journaling, and I've seen them used. So let's just have a look and see what's here. They are colorful. That's why that is why I particularly like them. Look at this one. Oh, aren't the colors beautiful? Cacti. USA 20 cents. And of course, Eleanor Roosevelt, 5 cents. And flowers. Aren't these just a treasure trove? Who have we here? Oh, I know who we have there. No? Oh, Thoreau. Oh my. Aren't these going to be delightful? And he had many more to choose from, but this was my first try. Oh my, look at this. January 2003. Aren't these lovely? Spirit of 76 stamps. So, presents to my junk journaling, and present to me, and an executive decision, all in the last few days. Prior to that, I had been looking for some goodies, and I found this college English book, and it was rather inexpensive, but the paper is thin and delightful. The print is lovely and set differently on different pages. And here I thought I could use these for using my glimmer mists on, or even try dyeing them in Rit dye. So, very inexpensive, and it's going to be delightful, I hope. I purchased this to share on my Etsy shop because it is in lovely condition, and I loved the idea, and I thought, wouldn't this be a pretty, wouldn't this be lovely for a Christmas day, a December daily for next year? And so, our favorite Christmas, and by gosh, by jingle, and Christmas Eve, and our family, etc. And I thought, oh my, isn't this lovely? So, I purchased this. And then, I have 2 more journals that I worked on this year. And I went into my trove and realized that I still have one of these ledgers left, and I will be popping that on Etsy. This is one that I had worked in May this year, and these papers, these very old papers from the early 1900s, can take absolutely anything that you might decide to throw at it. So, this one in October, and here we can see the junk journal setting in, because in October things in these journals started to calm down while I tried to learn to junk journal. But I do have some extra pages here, and I will be, keep an eye, I will be looking to share some of these with you in my Etsy shop, which is capital letters, Carol Martine Art, all one word. And this is the old ledger that I had been using for quite a while. In fact, the first one was done in March 2017. And this was a total experiment because I didn't have any idea what would happen to the to this paper when I used the, and I believe I deliberately put these down with matte medium because I wanted to try a wet medium to see what would happen, and nothing much did happen. This paper is incredible. I don't understand why, but it's just delightful. This has acrylic on it. This has some oil pastel, and this book, if you remember from last year when I did my end of the year, I shared this with you. This is the flower from my flower book with this stem, and here, and this, and this was Carol's innate desire to see if I can duplicate, copy, just try and experiment and see what happens, and I just love doing that. Here, more collage. These bits were from my Thurber book, and I wanted to see what I could do with them, and so on. This is has wax paper in it because I really laid on heavily on the oil pastels, water-soluble oil pastels, but I did not use water. Of course, that would have been too much. And a large piece of collage. Well, I don't want to go through too much of this. This one, I also wanted to see how it would handle a large piece of collage, and it did. And then I added my own flowers here, and some here, using acrylic, and then there's some acrylic through stencils, and on and on. So, this book, though, as you will notice, has just taken anything that I've been able to throw at it, but it would be many lifetimes, and that from 1903 until now, that I would take to use these pages. So I've decided that I'm also going to be sharing some of these pages with you in my Etsy shop. But my biggest, most fun find of the last couple of weeks was this baby. The cover, of course, seen better days. Well, haven't we all? So, let me get the back cover off. As you can see, Birds of America, Audubon, in very nice condition. A bit of ink here, but generally in nice condition. And look at the pretty end papers that they put in here. 1957. Birds of America. And aren't these just lovely because of the paper? It reminds me so much of Edith Holden type paper. And the 1957 is showing around the edges. But pages upon pages of flowers. Flowers and birds, of course. It's Audubon. But his flowers are just as lovely if you spend some time really, really looking at them. So, this book is quite thick. It has, I believe, an awful lot of his collection in it. And here again, I'm going to be sharing some of these pages with you also in my Etsy, because I'm going to be using these myself in junk journaling. Look at the coloration here in this face. Look at the beautiful colors here. See, this is what makes me want to get out my watercolors and see if I can't do that. Well, sorry, I'm going down a rat hole. Beautiful coloration. And they are just Doubleday bookshops. And yes, there were Doubleday bookshops at that time. It's all just Doubleday books. You would go to Doubledays and spend time, because the things were just so, so lovely. So, as I said, a book with this many pages certainly needs to be shared with all of my my friends that enjoy using beautiful, oh my, cardinals. Oh, love them, love them. Isn't she pretty? And some nests. I could go on and on. It just never makes me tired to look at these beautiful pieces, and the paper is nice and heavy. Will stand up well to being used. in journals. So, as you can see, this was a tickle to find, and I will be removing some carefully and sharing them. And sharing some ledger paper, etc., etc. Now, if you have enjoyed joining me today for a visit, please consider giving me a thumbs up, share with a friend, leave a comment, and I do try to answer them. And I would appreciate your subscribing to my channel. I know that many of you, whoops, I will return momentarily. Sorry, I thought that was my husband, but it was Ben from AT&T. Oh my, I guess it's true that we're going to be receiving more and more of those calls. So, as I was beginning to say, some of you might have feelings about whether or not I use this book, but I do hope that you understand how I feel about that, and we'll wait to see what happens. It is a decision to make, but I'm not 100% sure that a lot of people would understand this book and love it the way I do. So, bye now.